Going to bring in the seismic ruptures here.
Yeah, seismic rupture is good. It's part of the reason I don't love Eidolon, even though it's probably worth bringing in. Is just seismic rupture is a card you can expect SecksX to have in his deck.
But other than that, there's nothing that he, certainly never going to bring in a Thopter Spy Network in this matchup. And Disdainful Stroke is it can get a Stoke the Flames, but it can't get an Exquisite Firecracker most of the time.
Right.
Or ever. Yeah.
Yeah, I would expect the seismic rupture to come in and maybe a couple of the roasts, but roast isn't even that impressive. It's okay, but you don't really want to spend a turn and 2 mana to deal with something that costs 1 to 2 mana to play.
Right, and if the creature doesn't have flying, it's likely indestructible.
It sounds like the matchup doesn't change a huge amount in terms of once they've sideboarded. What about these in terms of going first versus going second? Because
Good job. 嘿，你的一箱来了，拿好。嘿，你的一箱来了，拿好。住手雷！ 泥箱来了，快拿好！受伤了，受伤了！嘿，泥箱来了，快拿去！把他们都关住！拿好急救包。嘿，泥箱。
The enemy only needs to take 5 more of us. Cover members out. Keep shooting.
你的衣箱了，拿好。
If we lose 5 more, then we're done.
Sigurd's looking at 7. He's going to be on the draw. It's just one mountain.
Yeah, it seems like a keepable hand. The deck frequently keeps one land hands just because, especially on the draw, if you basically the red deck wants to draw exactly 2 to 3 lands in a lot of the games. Abbot of Corral keep does mean that you can hit 4 or 5 and still be okay, but it does not want to draw 6 lands, you know, by turn 6. So keeping a 1-lander means that you can cast a bunch of spells on 1, and if you draw 2, you can basically cast everything.
Would you say you're much more likely to mulligan a, you know, like 2 or 3 spell hand than a 1-land hand?
I think so. As 2-spell hand, like 2 spells, 5 lands is almost assuredly a mulligan. It takes 2 pretty special spells, like maybe 1-drop Eidolon on the play or something like that. But for the most part, that is not a good hand.
So there you see Larson trying to become a Pro Tour champion for the first time in his 2nd final. Sigrist in his 1st final, as he will look at these 6. There's a Hangerback Walker, one of the real stars of the weekend. Darksteel Citadel, there's a lot of land there. It's a Phyrexian Revoker, 4 land and a Hangerback Walker by the looks of things. Sigrist is going to keep, and therefore that island we expect will go to the bottom.
That's what it did.
And Larson says, here we go. So, we're away in game number 2 of our final. Larson wins 1-0 in his best of 3 out of 5. And we didn't stay at 20 life points each for long.
Looking at Joel's hand, it looks like he did bring in the Eidolon of the Great Revels here.
Here's Hangerback Walker on schedule for Sigrist. Larson's turn to play. Begins with an attack.
And Sigrist certainly can't block here because the Swiss Spears 1-2. The question now for Yol is he didn't hit a 2nd land. Do you want to Wild Slash the Hangerback Walker and give Sigrist token? It looks like he's declining to do that.
Just passes the turn with all sorts of ammunition, not yet the means to deploy it. Sigrist, we know, doesn't have difficulty with land. Indeed, his difficulty may be that he has far too much of it as the best player. That's what we see. He's going to reach out with his Wild Slash to kill off the Hangerback Walker, so Thopter comes along instead. Larson has not drawn a land again.
And he does not have more burn spells. He's got a Zergo, but that's not something that can get rid of Chief of the Foundry. That's part of the reason that Sigrist wanted to drop Chief, is that it was out of range of any 1-damage spell or 1-mana spell.
So Sigrist working with a 2nd Hangerback Walker and Phyrexian Revoker. And here's Chief, and now, in much the same way that Sigrist was desperately under the cosh in game 1, this is Sigrist repaying the compliment here in game 2.
Yeah, just bashing for 6 here.
Fiel? Yes.
The enemy has just
Okay, so
taken
that
the
might
lead.
start
Want to see your
more
family
fair
again,
then.
then step it up.
As he sends in Zergo, who ironically is so much better.
Yeah, now he's started ringing bells instead of smashing homes.
Yep, Campanologists for the win.
The problem with this situation for Yol is that a 2-mana spell still can't kill a 3/4 Chief of the Foundry.
Much less 2. Scry from Mike Sigrist leaves the card on top.
And I like how aggressive Sigrist is being here. When your opponent's stuck on lands and has 6 spells in their hand, you have to attack them. If they just start drawing lands, then you're just in
We've just lost a lead. Come on,
Let's
move
get
it.
him dead.
Hey, we've got a war to fight. Get back here, soldier.
We saw that with Matt Sparling. He had just enough time to draw out of it, had a handful of spells in that one
I got
game,
your
and was
med
able to claw away. Here comes a Stoke the Flames. It's going to take down one Chief.
Have it back to Blood Revoker.
We're now in the lead.
There are a lot of cards that are basically just
Soldier,
straight
look
up
where you're
lethal
going.
here. Shrapnel
Stay with
Blast and
us.
Soul Artifact. Whirler Rogue is pretty close, another Chief of the Foundry. But Sigrist thought for a while before keeping, which doesn't necessarily mean it was a hard decision, but it means that he at the very least took his time. So I doubt it's one of those cards necessarily.
Here's your med
Interestingly, Sigrist named Lightning Berserker. 3 of those came out in Joel Larson's sideboarding along with 3 Fire Drinker Satyrs to make room for the 2 Arc Lightnings and the 4 Eidolons.
So Sigrist is somewhat slowing down, down to the Chief of the Foundry and a Thopter. Larson has 3 land and is starting to do what he's meant to. However, as Sigrist does a little scry action, Larson still with that Eidolon that he'd brought in, another Abbot, Searing Blood, and a Stoke the Flames. But he is down on 4.
And I think the card that Sigrist kept was Seismic Rupture.
Oh, okay. It looked like it may have gotten entered as Shrapnel Blast mistakenly, but yes, it is Seismic Rupture.
So, William Zergo.
So at this point, Sigrist is hellbent, no cards in hand. So Yol knows that, you know, he's got a little bit of time here. He's hoping to hit a land off that that Abbot there.
2. Ghost Fireblade would have done it though.
Ghost Fireblade is was the big out. Ooh, Hangerback Walker has to be.
Wow, a 3/3 Hangerback Walker.
Oh boy. That's not good news, Yo.
No, it's basically going to be the Abyss here. Yol's going to have to chump block it every single turn, lose a creature every turn to it, and if it ever dies, 3 1/1 tokens is almost surely enough to close out the game. Yol's at 2.
Right. Yeah, this is the time that Dragon Fodders and Hordling Outbursts might have been useful as little 1/1s
followed
to
up
jump.
with
And there's his Soul
Okay.
Artifact. Indestructible on the Darksteel Citadel.
What do you think, Yo? Shall we go to best of 3? Well, he's making it happen. I'll give him that, because only the Thopter got through. And just to give the Thopter some extra camera time. So 1-1 it is. The players are all tied up. We've all been at best out of 3 now, because in total our finals here at the Pro Tour are 3 out of 5. So there we are. The finals all tied
We're at the
at 1
halfway point.
apiece.
Let's keep it going.
So, where do we go from here now? We'll be back with Larson to go from. There was some interesting little byplay during the weekend. So often, people going on to play as the automatic default option for every deck ever. Quite a lot of back and forth, even this morning in the top 8, over choosing to draw with the red aggro deck. In certain matchups. So what's your sense, Luis, of where we might be in Standard? Are there going to be decks that want to draw sometimes? Or do you still feel pretty much we're in a world of, I won the die roll, I shall play?
The vast majority of the time you're going to play first. The only 2 matchups where I really see it being on the draw is the super slow control versus control matchup where you just want to hit your land drops, and super fast mono red versus mono red matchup where you all are playing 1 toughness creatures and shocks. So
and where you only want to hit 2 land drops.
Right,
and,
exactly.
And that's where it was right, because wasn't it Stephen Neal this morning against Yo Larson in the quarterfinals
Right.
that there was that dance of, okay, I'm the highest seed, so I'll draw, thank you. And then I lost and I'll draw again. And
Right.
so, yeah.
And Joel at that point had said he had wanted to play, but actually chose to draw in the 3rd game rather than give Steven what he wanted.
Right, and talking to Pat Cox, had he won his match and played the mono red mirror, he was also going to choose to draw.
Okay, so that is certainly something worth noting. You take a look at Yo Larson there. One of the reasons that this red aggro deck is so powerful are some of the new toys available from Magic Origins, and none finer, arguably, than this little flaming beauty, the exquisite Firecraft. Just everything about this is it's a pretty straightforward Luis spell to see that this is constructed worthy.
It's funny because 3 mana for 4 damage is basically always made it into constructed, and that's what these decks are playing it for. But the spell mastery is also very relevant. Part of the reason that we may not see very many control decks at the top tables is you're 4 life, have 3 catapult units, or just draw one of these and you're dead.
Yeah, talking to the Team Ultra Pro guys who are
I have
playing
eyes
that
on an
one
enemy
deck,
sniper.
you know,
Due east
they're
to your
like, yeah,
location.
I don't necessarily love this card in every matchup, but boy, you know, if you're playing against a control deck, you know, you kind of can't lose. You know, you soften them up with your early game, and then you just wait to draw your exquisite firecrafts and finish them off.
Yeah, you get their life total towards measured in firecraft. Oh, it's 2 firecrafts away from going.
But yeah, no, it's you know, and it's fine without spell mastery.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
you're just clear your stupid Courser prefix out of the way.
We are going to clear Exquisite Firecraft out of the way because our players are ready to give us the third act of this final game. Larson against Stickers. There's 2 out of 3 remaining. Larson on the play. Let's see what happens. Do we have a turn 1 play
We
from
do.
Larson? Bang. Monastery Swiss Spear. In we go. Clock. Tick, tick, tick. Sigrist. Do we have a turn 1 play?
If you want to make it home, then you better
We
kick it
do.
up a notch. If they kill 5 more of us, then
Ornithopter
we are
and Ghost
screwed.
Warbler. Tick, tick, tick.
There you go. We get Shrapnel Blast and a Hangerback Walker. This is Joel Larson's hand with the Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Now. And it's burn, burn, burn. And he has exactly that third mountain that he might want at some point. And that is pretty much it. Larson will happily take spells the rest of the way. And by the rest of the way, we may not mean very long.
Sigrist now has the decision whether he wants to equip the Ghostfire Blade, which is very tempting because a 2/4 Ornithopter only dies to Stoke and Firecraft. But if he's doing that, he's kind of giving up playing an effective spell, particularly a Hangerback Walker. Eidolon is looking pretty good here on the play, I will have to admit, because Hangerback Walker, Springleaf Drum does in fact punish him. Though, let's see if he ends up how much he ends up taking from Eidolon there.